I'm pleased to introduce Stacie. I spent some time with her last week, acquainting her with DSCA a little bit. Interesting things at Chicago, who brought the weather with her to some extent. You've been with the city, I believe, something like, is it almost 20 years?
21.
21 years.
I know
And
I don't look that old.
and you know, the city's at about 850-ish employees. She's going to take us through a PowerPoint, which I really, really like. And if there's anybody who knows a lot about the city, I would say it's Stacie. And one of your undergraduate degree was in criminology, is that right?
Yeah, criminology and psychology.
Okay, well, that's
yes. And I ended up in HR, so
yeah.
I think it fit. I don't know.
Okay, so we're remiss in not having invited Stacie because of the importance of her function to our entire city. So with that said, Stacie, let's go.
Oh, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. It's been great getting to know you and introducing and getting to know people on this board. So thank you for having me. I'll try to face the audience and the virtual audience. Again, my name is Stacie Mason. I have been with the city since '03, which was very interesting. I can remember my orientation with the city. Payne Park was just getting built, and you guys will probably remember that, but it was wonderful to see that progress happen. So now when we take all of our new employees through our trolley tour and orientation, we show them different locations. I can always say, this used to be nothing. It used to be a mobile home park. And now we have this beautiful, as I like to call it, our central park. So yeah, I've been around for a few years, but our authority, or mine specifically as the Director of Human Resources, comes from the City Code of Ordinance. We have a chapter that's called Personnel. And within that, the HR Director actually has outline of the responsibilities. Some of those things are such things as personnel records for the city, compensation plans, classifications, which are job descriptions and requirements that employees have to have when they join us, labor negotiation responsibilities, employees' pay to make sure they're paid correctly. And then also under our umbrella is training and education responsibilities. And that actually all comes from the ordinance. Some additional duties that we are tasked with just by the city manager's purview are things like benefits, all benefits and total compensation for employees. We actually have recruitment for all city positions under our umbrella. We partner with the police highly. As you may know, they have a recruiter, a full-time and a part-time recruiter at the police department. We have one recruiter in our human resources department. We also have risk management under human resources. And we'll talk a little bit more about that and who kind of is the lead on that and what that might mean for you guys as community members and citizens. Advisory boards, we have two under our umbrella. We have the Human Relations Board, what is focused on an ordinance to prevent discrimination, both in employment and housing, fair housing. That's a very thorough ordinance if you're ever interested in reading that. And we have a citizen board that we advise or we're the support of. If we ever get discrimination claims, we take them through that board. Our second board is Citizens with Disabilities, that is very highly engaged in issues within our community to make sure there's accessibility for anyone with disabilities or mobility issues. If you've ever had a chance to hear or see our Eco Rover that we just got at Lido, it is for mobility. It is a motorized wheelchair that individuals can use independently, and we're very proud of that. We purchased that with funds through our Citizens with Disabilities group, our advisory board, and it is free for use for our citizens and visitors. They just need to contact us, and we'll talk about who they can contact. But we're very proud of that, and we've actually had, since we launched it in mid-July, and counting in some of our cold days here, we've had 19 different engagements with people using that, from visitors to full-time residents here. So we're very proud of that. ADA oversight also is Americans with Disabilities Act. So Jake Brown, who I'll introduce you to by picture on one of these slides, is very involved with disability issues, mobility and accessibility issues in our community. So that's under our umbrella also. So on our HR team, we have 11 members. I have chosen 4 to kind of talk about today that are more external, maybe focused, are people in our community you would interact with more than individuals that maybe are just internal employee support. The first one is Dominique Anderson. She is our general manager. She has oversight of employee and retiree benefits. We have a huge group of retirees that remain on our medical, dental, vision, life insurance benefits, numbering a little over 500. So it's a big contingency of the support that we provide to the community for that. She manages all of our employee data and our compensation. That's under her umbrella. And then our recruiter is Barry Ames. He does all the recruitment for the city. And a lot of times we know artificial intelligence is becoming very big. In the HR world, that's used a lot for screening and identifying keywords and sorting through applications. Though we're not there yet, maybe we'll be given that prerogative in the future. We touch every application that comes into the city and we review it. So that's very important for us to get qualified applicants, get them to the departments to review and start the interview process. So this is very heavy for us in terms of receiving all apps for applications and sorting through them and actually touching them and looking at them. Very important. He attends job fairs. He does outreach to our local schools and colleges. One of the biggest kind of benefits or points that we do with our public is internships. We are always trying to draw our college people into the city, giving them an array of all the different departments we have. We have, as you guys may know, many of the positions much better than I do with the interaction you do with city employees, but we have engineers to landscaping people to, you know, the PEs and then our executive teams. There is just a wide array of business opportunities within the city, and people don't always understand we're that big of an employer. As David had mentioned, we are 860 some employees, and that fluctuates on seasonal too. We have summer camps for all of our recreational areas. And then the Van Wezel, as you can imagine, during the season, we have to hire more. So that kind of fluctuates based on the season. So Barry's our recruiter. If you ever have anyone that's interested in city employment or maybe just talking about our opportunities, you might have people that you know that are visiting and just want to take a tour, we're happy to do any of that. We love talking about our city. Mr. John Powers is our risk manager for the city. He interacts heavily with people in the community. If unfortunately anyone has any bodily injuries, maybe damage, unfortunately once in a while, our big garbage trucks, which we love our garbage truck drivers, but those are big vehicles to drive. Sometimes they might damage something. And Mr. Powers is the one that works with the citizens to make sure we make that right if that is our fault. So a good guy to know if you need anything. And then Mr. Jake Brown is our ADA coordinator. He oversees what we call our ADA transition plan. So if we have physical barriers within our city facilities, our sidewalks, our intersections, we have a plan that has identified those, and then he oversees that we get those fixed. Transition plans, if you're familiar with them, can be as long as 20, 30 years out. There are a lot of big capital projects that sometimes need funding for to get the fixes, but he oversees that plan to ensure we have eyes on it and we continue to look at any of the fixes we can do. He manages both our advisory boards, which we love that. A huge citizen interaction with our advisory boards, always bringing good information to the table. You guys probably are very aware, but all advisory boards are open to the public. We would love more people attending, more people involved. If you ever have an opportunity, please come join us at our meetings. And again, he's a public contact for any disability issues or concerns. And again, we have a few other folks, but these were the ones I wanted to highlight that are usually in contact with our public more often than not. Some of our challenges in HR, how do we stay competitive? There are a lot of employers out there. How do we get the people to come to us? We are constantly looking at our compensation package, and we think of it as a total compensation package. We have an employee health clinic, if you were not aware. It's very important to us to have that benefit. We have really good medical, dental, life insurance, long-term disability plans, and we package all that as a total compensation in addition to our wages. We have always fought against private industry and our wages, and that's always pretty tough. We have become much more competitive in the last 4 years. I believe it was in 21, we went to the Florida retirement system. Previously, we were called a local pension plan, and we converted to the state pension plan. Not only did that help the city's liability in terms of cost to get away from your own local pension plan, but Florida retirement system is portable, as you may know. So if you worked for Manatee County, they would have FRS. Let's say they want to come join us. It's portable. They stay in their same pension plan. That has helped us tremendously to gain different people that would never look at the city. They would have to exit a state pension plan. Now we kind of had that movement back and forth. And a lot of people say, oh, that means people will leave us to go to these other entities. We actually haven't seen that because I think we have such a good environment, the benefits we offer, and just the quality of staff we do have. We are not seeing a lot of people exit because, oh, I can go to Manatee County, they have that for us also. Our retention rate, which we do keep an eye on, government generally has much lower retention and turnover rate than private industry. Ours is 4%. So people are not voluntarily exiting. A lot of times we'll see retirements or promotional opportunities. We know we've lost some executive levels and some management because they had growth opportunities maybe with another county. We hate to see that, but we also, you know, if they want to go into a directorship or a management role and we didn't have it to offer, we see them as developing. So we hate to lose them, but we know they're also developing. Compensation study cadence is also very important. So we're currently doing a compensation study, looking at other public entities and private entities, making sure we're paying the right amount for the right jobs. So that's important to do that cadence at least 3 to 5 years to keep your pay in the right range. Just kind of a little advertisement for us. If you're ever on our job site, our city website, up at the top is a jobs link. You can click on that and it will take you to what we call our career page. What's kind of exciting about this, and most entities have career pages, but what I've highlighted up there in the corner, it says, please introduce yourself. So right now we have 14 jobs available. Maybe they're not of interest to you at all, or to, you know, any of your relatives, neighbors. Please share this because we love to see people that live in the city work for the city. But you can click on that and actually say, introduce yourself to us and say, hey, I'm a prospect that you don't have anything available right now, but I'm really interested in human resources, let's say. And then we will keep that on hand. We have an opening. We will reach out to them and say, hey, now we have an opening. So we really love to have that because not at all times do we have what people are looking for, but then we have some names gathered and we're ready to go if we have those openings. So please share that if you would. I wanted to talk briefly about some of our current recruitments. There's some really great positions that we're working on right now. So two that I thought might be very relevant to this group is our sustainability manager position and then our city manager position, which we are going to talk a bit about.
I'm looking for the pin that I've been using out there.
The sustainability manager, that position resides in the planning department. Jeff Redenberg had been our long-term sustainability planner or manager. He exited. We hated to see that loss, and we started advertising in October to fill this position. We got really great, again, qualified candidates, 23 high-level candidates. And again, I think it's because of our packages that we offer, Florida retirement system, and some of our other benefits. The department completed their process for interviews, and I'm happy to say they've actually selected someone for hire on January 22nd. So that position will be filled. The wonderful applicant that's going to be joining us actually worked for Sarasota County in their sustainability program. And then she was in a nonprofit prior to that. So she has 5+ years in sustainability and a master's degree in global sustainability. So we're very excited to have her on board. I'm sure you guys will meet her sooner than later, but that's great. So that's one that we feel very proud about. That'll be coming to fruition later in the month. And then let's jump to the city manager search. We do have an executive search firm Colin Benzinger and Associates. That name may be familiar to a few of you. We engaged them previously in 2012 to help us with our city manager search. We currently today, as of today, are completing what we call the recruitment brochure. It's all the information about our community, about the position, about what the commission's intent and needs are and wants are in this position. So we just were finalizing that, and they are opening it for applications on January 9th. So this is up-to-date information right now. So we're very excited to get that on the street, as we might say. This link actually, which doesn't really help all of us in the room, but when this gets distributed, you can actually click on that link, and that's where the advertisement will be. So if you'd be patient and wait until after January 9th, you can click on that and our advertisement will be there and look at the wonderful brochure they've created. They will review, accept and review all applicants. We're looking to have it open roughly 30 days. Now we could extend that if we don't get the quality we want. I do believe we will. This is a cherished area to be in and to work in. So the firm will review them. We will receive, meaning the city commissioners and the point people. I just happen to be the project manager on this project. Myself and our executive team and the commissioners will receive an update. We're looking at around February 12th. So we will get a memo saying, you know, we received probably 300 applicants. We've narrowed it down. Now, I don't know how many we'll receive, but a lot, I'm sure. So we'll get that update. We are looking to have a finalist list by the end of March. So once we know what the applicants are, we're going to turn this around fairly quickly. And then the finalists will be on site by April of 25. So that's kind of our timeline right now. The on-site is estimated to be 2 days long in April. So we are really going to use those 2 days to the fullest, from, you know, early morning to one night. It will be an open receptionist that might take them until 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. So we're really going to put them through the paces. We will have a reception for the public, for anyone interested. We're also encouraging our employees, come meet the finalists. The commissioners will be asked to be there to get feedback from anyone that attends at that particular open receptionist. The second day of the on-site will be interviews. Commission will meet with the applicants one-on-one, as they can do, and then to meet with them as a group, it'll be a public meeting. So that will be posted, and of course we would want the public there also, have any feedback or just to listen to the interviews that occur at that day. And then we will end the process of the on-site, again with the group meeting. We don't expect the commissioners to make a choice at that moment after you've just, you know, been with somebody for one-on-ones and group interviews. So the following week after that, we will ask them for another special meeting to make a decision. So that falls, I believe that's about the third week in April. So we're hoping we will have an answer by the third week in April. So I know that's kind of exciting news. It's exciting for us. So we're really looking forward to that. But by the end of the week, we should have the advertisement out. So I know that was a lot of information. I thank you guys.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And our protocol is we open it up to our board members for questions first. So any questions, comments? I guess I have oh, go ahead.
Just real quickly, in the 800 some odd employees, I know oftentimes they talk about the police department being a fairly large section of the budget. So how many of that 800 are SPD?
At the PD, there's about 250 employees, and I believe they're about 75% of the general budget. So it's interesting. They are not the largest department, but they're one of the largest. Yes, good question.
One question, I'll step in. So the process on the city manager is the search firm will wait for people to apply, as opposed to some experience I've had of consulting and researching and contacting
Kind of reaching out,
a target,
Yes.
if you will. Talk to us about
Sure,
that.
that's a good point. They do have what they call their active database of people that they can share this with. So I do believe that they have thousands of individuals, not only in the state of Florida, but nationally, that they know that they will send this advertisement to. They will not narrow it down necessarily to a select few, but they will use a database of people they've interacted before with for those kind of top executive levels. So we are expecting them to do some proactive reaching out, but that would then have those individuals coming forward to apply for it.
One other thing I've heard talked about is there any bias is the wrong word, to select from Florida or a state who have legislative situations that are somewhat Florida-ish?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. The statement we made in the brochure doesn't say you need to be from Florida, but Florida experience is preferred just because of the sensitivity of this state, our public records, and some other laws that we expect our city manager to know. It's not required, but we have noted that it would be good to bring that to the table if you did have Florida experience.
Other question, and Ken, microphone, please.
Stacie, I have a question about the advisory boards.
Yeah.
I have a question about a chair, how the chairs are selected or how they should be selected. You know, I'm on this new downtown master plan update committee.
Uh-huh.
And one of the first things we're going to have to do is select a chair. And we don't know each other.
Yeah.
There are 13 people and they have diverse backgrounds. Do you have any advice about how chairs should be selected for these advisory boards?
That's a good question, especially coming in not being familiar with each other. Generally, our boards, and Ken, you probably have served on a lot of them, but our boards are generally 5 to 7 that we oversee. And they're a group that gets to know and are familiar with each other. And what we do on our advisory boards, and it depends on the ordinance too, or on that committee, maybe the rules for that committee. But annually, the board selects a chair and a vice chair just by, nominations, self-nominations or other nominations. But in that situation, that's going to be very interesting. I don't know if you guys get any information about each other beforehand, or if that could be asked almost like a VC or, CVs. That might be helpful, or, do a meeting or so before a permanent chair is selected. Because, I think the important part is somebody that can run a good meeting and also have a chair that can step in and help. So it's just running an effective meeting, keeping to the agenda. And if you're not familiar with each other, you don't know that who has those skills right away. Yeah. I don't know if they could just temporarily have somebody guiding them until they can make a choice later, but.
Well, the Purple Ribbon Committee did not have a good chair, and she's gone. But what was really helpful was Jim Shirley coming in to help give some sense of direction to the committee. And I know that they're hiring an advisor to that committee, but the chair concerns me because it's going to be tough.
Yeah, that will be.
No chair.
Well, maybe the advisor can guide that for a little while until the appropriate information is known to select the chair. Might be a consideration, because the first item of business, that's hard to do, to select a chair when you're not familiar with who. Yeah, a tough one.
Hey, I've just got one final.
Stacie, okay, thank you. When you look at the brochure, it's kind of a job spec, right?
Yes.
And there's all sorts of attributes that the city manager could have. Could be how well they're going to work in the culture. It could be how many years of experience, could be their technical skills. There's a whole lot of things. Are you driving consensus with the commissioners since they're making a decision on what are the most important attributes for this particular role? Because if they go off on their own, I don't know how you're ever going to find the right candidate, because there's no consensus on what you want.
Yeah, that's a great question. And stepping into this, that was some concern, because you're right. I mean, there's 5 different opinions that could go 5 different ways. With the consultant coming in, they actually came on site and did one-on-ones with each commissioner, and then met with myself, Pat, and Doug as the executive group, as the project management team, and said, surprisingly, they are, have consensus on these items. There's 2 or 3 things that are a little, outside of the 5 have made consensus. So we felt really good about that. I thought we'd have 5, 5 different ways to go, but it was surprisingly very consistent with kind of their needs or wants, the attributes really that were needed for the position to fit. But yeah, thank you. I didn't talk much about that, but that happened early on, which I was happy about.
Listen, is there anybody else? Well, thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Very nice to meet you.
Okay, and if we can help in this search process, if we can provide any positive input or be involved, please let us know. Okay, okay, thank you.